Today is December 20th. Yesterday, there was a serious contact dealing with the essence of soul, crying out and doing everything that soul could do in that soulful movement to get to a point where a safety zone could help that soul regroup.
High Priest Kwatamani, Supreme Soothsayer, Soul Seer, Spiritual Healer and Revealer, Chief Elder of the Kwatamani First Genesis Tribe, the oldest, longest sustained, raw and living, plant fuel consuming, family community order known, over half a century, and still going strong in the tropical rainforest.
Years ago, when he and I returned to the rainforest jungle, the tropical rainforest jungle environmental beliefs. Somewhere in 2007 or maybe 2008, we were doing a presentation at an elementary school, and we were expressing the first Genesis conscious culture. What happened is there was an energy manifestation that occurred. You know, prophetic happenings are so serious. Nobody can stop a prophetic happening. Whether it be he or she, whether it be a mother or father, whether it be a friend or a kin, not even a foe can stop a prophetic happening. We had a prophetic happening that was actually profiled years and years ago. There was this young, feminine soul who was destined toward whole life resurrection, holistic living, healing. This is a revealing of the route to a brand new day and the consciousness of this sacred ancestral feminine she. She would actually impact the entire Kwatamani First Genesis tribe and all of those people who knew of her. And the impacting nature of energy has only just begun. Follow this trail. Follow the dotted line. And let's see how you fit into this holistic living equation. We have to honor femininity, so I would prefer that we start by honoring femininity. And so in that process, I'm going to call on the priestess, our senior priestess of this First Genesis reality, Priestess Kwatamani, and I'm going to have her sit with one of our young doctrines and soul, Kwa Shela.
Well, I've been looking forward to this. I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking forward to, but I feel a vibration. These times, it's a lot of change. Sometimes people say, wow, it feels like things are just scattering and falling apart. But based on the teachings of the High Priest Kwatamani, it's very clear that we are in the phases of a cycle that is ending. And the song that has been sung so long is a new cycle, a new cycle. And having gone through a process with the High Priest Kwatamani, a process that's been over 25 years of detoxing, purging, and healing, and being able to see the kinds of changes that can happen, and getting to a point of greater clarity and comprehension. I now know that I have the opportunity to be an eyewitness to the kinds of changes that can happen with whole life healing. I know you just told me when I walked in to get the camera stuff in place, you said, wow, Mama Gail, can you believe the changes that I am going through, the kinds of, I said, I believe it because I've been watching it and I see it. And now to the point where you are able to see and express it is very exciting. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Just tell me whatever it is that you have to share. Kwashela.
Well, to be honest, I feel like this entire experience has allowed me to discover my soul and to know that I do have a soul, and that soul is very strong.
I know. I'll tell you the part that I have observed. I know it's been a lot of struggles, but I know that you came with a strong desire for healing. You'd say how you've experienced that process and where you are right now with that.
Well, to start, the whole reason why I first came, well, actually, let me start from the very beginning of how I came across the Kwatamani royal family.
Okay.
And that was when I was 8 years old. I was attending St. Andrew's Anglican School, and we were having, I think it was a cultural day, and the family went to the school to go perform, and that was how I first saw the Kwatamani royal family, and I was just so amazed at like how different the vibration was and how different everybody looked. And I always, from the time I was a little girl, I always loved drums, so I always I tuned into the drums from the moment I saw it, and that, I think that memory stayed stuck inside my head since that time.
One of the things that's key is to come to the recognition. It is two different natures of energy, and we must be able to respect the two different kinds of cultures that manifest. I'm fully aware that within Western culture, it is just completely a dominating and controlling culture that did its thing, got its way the way it is, and I ain't about no element of it at all. I'm going to respect that culture for what it is and know that I am of an entirely different culture consciousness. And I'm not going to disrespect that which forward side. You stay with that and just move within divine order. Just like those who have a self-deified nature, they're going to stay with that until it takes them to a point that they get sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of the conflict, confusion, and chaos that it brings. Do not forget that the pathway of divine order transmits through the soul. The pathway of disorder transmits through the self.
When I was about, I think, 17 or 18, that was when I was going through a lot of difficulties with my health. You know, I was suffering from migraine headaches. I was suffering from anemia. I always felt weak. My blood was always low. I didn't have no energy. And I had terrible headaches all day, every day. And so my brother, he was the one that actually first had the communications and the interactions with the family. First, he said you have to change your diet and you have to change the environment that you are in. And at that time, I didn't comprehend what he was saying. I just know that I wanted to feel better. So I said, you know what? Just let's go for it. I will go and I will just, see how I feel. And Mama Gail, that has been the most amazing experience that I have ever felt in my entire life. I think it was just within the first couple of months that I felt tremendous change with my headaches, with my body. I was able to move around. I was able to play ball. I was able to go to the garden. I was able to help with the children. I was able to do almost everything that I couldn't do. And my mental state was just flourishing. My physical state was amazing. And I was still finding my spiritual state because at that time I did not quite comprehend certain things. So as the years went along, I just, I was very moved by the vibration of being here. It was just the energy that really attracted me, how peaceful it was, and just how everybody flowing within that same nature of energy. And everything was just very, very nice to me. That wasn't the end of the story.
No.
Because as you know, we come from what would I say?
Say it.
Like basically, we have a DNA. And inside of that DNA, our mothers or our fathers or our grandparents, they have all faced things. And those things get passed on to the children. So within my DNA line, my DNA factors, it's a line of a lot of stress and anxiety. So I had to face that around this time. And I did not know that it was so much inside of me. A lot of stress and a lot of anxiety, to the point where it, like, one day it just came, everything just came heavy on me. And I was at a point where, like, first I didn't even know that it was stress and anxiety, because inside of my head I thought that it was all kind of things. I said, wow, something wrong with my heart, something wrong with my lungs, something wrong with my brain. And it was just very, very confusing to me. Like, I didn't know, like, what to do. So I came to the realization that it was not nothing wrong with my heart. It was nothing wrong with my lungs. My body was experiencing an enormous amount of stress and anxiety. And I know it's so many different people out there who are facing that right now today. And so that journey was a battle.
I can tell you, I have something very, very special, very wholesome, very healthy, something that's an absolute necessity for each and every one of us who are involved in this soul-to-soul journey and have come to full recognition that, hey, ain't no ands, ifs, and buts about it. We are in a spiritual war. And it has not looked too good. As a matter of fact, it appears that the opposition energy is winning so far. That's right. The opposition energy appears to be winning so far. And the spiritual war is really simple. Self versus soul. Disorder versus divine order. And this seems to be something that the sacred ancestors, the masculine ancestors of divine order, the feminine ancestors of divine order, is demanding, insisting, requesting that we come into full clarity right now.
I feel like listening to you now, I have the chance to be an eyewitness, but I'm actually tracking your process because we've been working and you've been present, and I have definitely seen changes. Yes. But what I realized is you came and you were able to reason that you had physical health challenges. And even with the mental, I know that I would communicate with you and you were able to work with that. But do you know, as I'm looking at it, when you say the stress and the anxiety, that is really a nature of energy? It really has a feel, and it's just fear and worry, and you feel very insecure, and you jump, you're scared.
Yes.
That is the nature of energy. So now we're talking about detoxing and purging to heal from the nature of energy that was actually fueling your whole consciousness. So your thoughts and your reasoning, you could focus on that. But it was how you were feeling, just the feeling of all of those things. And you're speaking with so much strength now. You see, it's very different. You used to be hesitant and like, and it's like, just go ahead and express from that soulful place.
I think it has a lot to do with, like, it has a lot to do with spiritual strength. But you have to find that strength, and you have to know that you have that strength within you.
That's right.
Because when you are facing things, that opposite nature of energy will attack you. And I could say that it was attacking me. And it was a battle of self and soul. And I realized that, and I said, wait, what in the world is going on? It was actually like a war inside of my head. Because at some point, like at different points in time, I felt like I was done. I felt like I wasn't going to make it. I felt like I wasn't going to see another day. Based on the way how I was feeling, I felt like a person who was sick. I felt like I needed to be in the hospital. I felt all these different kind of things. And now that I have gotten up. I know that I have gotten over that. I told my being, when I look back, I said, wait, all of those things that I was facing was that I was heavily under that opposite nature of energy. That was the self. And I had to find my soul. I had to tell my being, you know what? I am a soul. I am bigger. I'm bigger than this. I am stronger than this.
So what happened, Quashayla, though? What happened? It seemed like I'm saying almost literally from one day. I know recently I saw you and you was like, it's just a day or two ago because we were out yesterday.
Yes.
Then I come back and then now I'm speaking to you and definitely there is a difference. So I have to ask you, what happened?
Mama Gail, to be very honest with you, I know that it was the most supreme unseen that guided me to whatever it is that I'm feeling right now. The reason why I say that is because that's true. It was just like the day before, I was still like up inside of my head. I still felt drained. I still felt hopeless and different things like that. And I just woke up the next early day and I was communicating to someone, and that person led me to the high priest. And because usually I would pass by and I would greet him and then, I would carry on with my day. But yesterday turned out different. And he had called me and said that he wanted to communicate with me. And it's like a whole different kind of vibration that just entered me, Mama Gail.
There was a serious contact dealing with the essence of soul, crying out and doing everything that soul could do in that soulful movement to get to a point where a safety zone could help that soul regroup.
And I felt my soul, I felt my spirit, I felt everything uplifted. Well, you have to tell me what that has me. I'm all into this. You have to tell me. So what was it? Was it the communication that you had with the high priest, or what were you able to see within your own being that you hadn't seen before? What was it? It was definitely the communication that I had with the high priest. What is it? You hit something? Go ahead. I just felt my soul come back alive. And it's actually something that you can't really explain. You don't know how to really say it. Because that's something that you feel, and you feel it strongly inside of you. And not everybody gets to experience that. And I am so grateful that I had the opportunity to experience that. It was honestly like my soul just got... It just got revived. It just came back alive. And I was able to tune the self out, and I was able to bring my soul back in. And when I did that, there is no negative thought, there is no negative feeling, there is no negative emotion. The only thing that I feel or felt at that moment is positivity. And that is what brought me back into the state that I am right now. When I sat down, it was like, okay, so let me hear what was going on. I said, but what I heard was, I get to be an eyewitness, because it's almost like there were two different natures of energy in a battle within you. And it was very easy to tell when you would communicate, and it'd be a low kind of depressed kind of
because
energy.
that is what it does to you. And a lot of people, they don't know that. They don't realize that that energy will try to break you. It will tell you every negative thing. It will make you feel low. It will make you feel depressed. It will just completely drain you. But you have to know, you have to be able to tell the difference. You have to know what kind of energy you're dealing with. And you have to know that that is not you. The soulful essence of you is in there, but you have to be able to find that.
You know, when the High Priest Kwatamani was debriefing me, he did not give me the details, but he said, you'll be very surprised. And just when you were communicating and explaining, it brought actually some tears of joy, because there is a most supreme unseen communication network. See, people don't realize that for the most part, they do hear voices in their head, but the kinds of things that they hear, they're not able to discern that most of the things that they're listening to bring them to a low, or feed trouble and conflict. But they just go with it. It'll feed on your insecurity. It'll feed on your fear, and it'll tell you da, 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 da. And they're not able to even feel how they are feeling. So as you were communicating, I could actually feel how you are feeling. And I know that there has actually been a connection. It's not just enough for, say, the High Priest Kwatamani to tell you, or even to be able to see the soulful. You within your own being have to make contact and connection within your own being. And it sounds like that's what's happening. You had a breakthrough, and you were able to make that connection, and now you're speaking from the presence of Kwashela. Go on. Tell me more.
Well, I just entered a phase in my life that I never thought or could imagine that I would get to. And that is a place of no stress, no worries, no anxiety, no fear. I have gotten to that place, and I will continue to rise. I will continue to move forward, because
you can tell the difference.
Yes, you can tell the difference. And the place that I was in 4 months ago, that is a place that I do not desire to ever be in ever again in my life. So it's like my entire focus, my entire energy, and my entire mindset has shifted. And I am speaking from the soul, and I am that soul. And I will always be that soul.
Well, you know, tell me, what was it, if you can recall, in the communication? Because I am so clear there was a movement. You see, there was a movement to get past something. Are you able to track, like as you were communicating with the High Priest from yesterday, what it was that kind of led you to that place, so you could kind of cross that line of separation and enter into that a new state of consciousness?
I think what led me to that was enough is enough. And you have to reach to a point. Sometimes you may not even have to reach to a point, but I know I reached to a point where I said, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired.
I hear you.
And I know that I come from a place greater than any stress, any anxiety, any worry, and any fear. I know that that is not me, and that does not need to live inside of me.
We must go back to the first Genesis, cultural reality of consumption, of how we interrelate as man, he, and she, and how we must uphold the principles, morals, and values of going forward to multiply divine order into every offspring and vibration of generation next, and that we must comprehend the relationships with parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and the necessity of having this channel developed so that we can transmit our soul-to-soul energy forward. into the next generations. And in the spiritual war, the opposition energy appears to be winning so far, and most people who are tied and aligned with that opposition nature do not even see it that way. They cannot even envision it. They feel self-righteous in their pathway toward diabetes, heart attacks, cancer, all different kinds of hypertension, stress, strain, all kinds of elements. They don't realize that all of those things are obviously and clearly the adverse effects of consuming mental, physical, and spiritual disorder. And as a result, it's the greatest challenge that we're having right now. As I said, yesterday, it's heartwarming.
Sacred garden culture. As it was. Sacred garden culture. Sacred garden culture. As we go.
I saw a burst of soul energy. And it was real simple. And I just simply asked her a simple question. I said, Sheila, wait, baby, who are you? And she said, who are you?
Sheila.
I said, basically, what does that mean to you? And her response was,
That's the soulful essence of who I be.
and I listened and I'm saying, uh-oh. I said, okay, so what do you choose? And hers was?
I choose the soulful essence of who I be.
I will take it from here. Those who have come to know you, they know you as Sheila. That means they know the essence of self that manifested you. They know all of the self natures that they perceive and wish and want you to perform like. They see you and they say, wow, you're not the same. That disturbs them. And so it becomes a conflict of interest for you to be called Kwa Sheila by their mouth. And this is unfortunate because, as I said, a seed don't become a seed forever in the name that person identify it. The seed grows into the roots, they grow into the fruits, and then the bottom line is it puts back a seed again in its own image. So we have to create a new image upon this earth. That means that we're going to have different kinds of relationships with each other. We're going to have to breed seed and feed a different kind, a different nature of masculinity from the soul. A different nature of femininity from the wholeness of the soul, the soulness of the whole. And we have to comprehend that the key begins with the feminine she, because she's the birthplace. All that we be. She is a nurturer. Do not forget that the pathway of divine order transmits through the soul. The pathway of disorder transmits through the self. Do not forget, in the ancient times, there's a story told about a particular nature energy. The nature energy was called self, but it was pronounced set. That nature of energy which diametrically opposed divine order from birth. Some things we can't get clear and comprehend. This is why the ancestors long ago said that, hey, you have a divine natural innate duty, obligation, responsibility, and you have to get this clarity, and you have to quiet your mouth until it's time. Yesterday, in this particular encounter, I was minding my business. I was looking at the situation. I was watching a disaster on its way to happening. And although we were holding on, there was some strong interference. That strong interference was by the nature of self. There was something else that had occurred. This nature of self had put the box, a deception. And in that deception, the elder brother, who was at that time identified as Asar, which means the green god of the black land. That's all it means. Because we are green earth solar conscious beings. Was taken, entrapped, put in a box. The feminists could not protect him. He could not protect the feminists. His divine, natural, innate duty, obligation, and responsibility was to give divine guidance and protection over the feminine. He was put in a box, so he was locked away from his ability to provide what is necessary in order to safeguard the women and the children, to safeguard divine socioeconomic family community order. It is said that he was later cut into 14 bit pieces and parts, scattered all over the world so that he could never be remembered again. Remembered as a holistic living presence of sacred ancestral energy, could no longer remember the principal morals and values of divine order. Therefore came the creation of disorder ran by self. I really want this to be clear to those who think they're clear, those who know they're not clear, and let you know that, hey, there's more going on in this whole life resurrection right here and right now in a movement forward. As we enter 2025, headed for 2027, where there is a sacred ancestral prophecy of AD 2027, and recognizing that years ago, the I had something that I spoke to. So many of you who remember and those who don't remember, go find it in the archives of 2024. Here's how it goes. Just piecemealing. Dealing with the urgent need for healing. Feeling the feeling of humanity. Dealing with the impending 9/11. Prophecy AD 2027. Yeah, dealing with what is in store as we prepare to enter the door of what will be AD 2024. The sleeper, where the gatekeeper is the grim reaper. Yeah. If you're listening well, we're in that era. And it is a downward spiral for any and all who connected with it, who continue to hold on to it, who refuse to let go of it. But there is a parallel where there's holistic living resurrection being called for here and now for the divine and sacred few, the few, the few, the few. And that we must gather mentally, physically, and spiritually, regardless of the obstacles. Oftentimes over the years, what the I and I have been told by those who see something within this energy that they want, they say, why can't we meet in the middle? And I said, meet in the middle? How? If we meet in the middle, where are we at? If we meet in the middle, that means I have surrendered divine order. I have surrendered divine order. I have surrendered the principles, morals, and values that uphold and maintain our existence as divine children of the sun, rejected the sacred garden culture from which we come, spewed upon the I and I being a green earth solar conscious energy. I can't do that.
Definitely we're in the midst of changes, right? And there's a lot of anxiety because people are fearful of the changes. Well, that's within that other nature of energy, as the high priest is very clear to state. This is what I can say, because this is what I see from what I've experienced. There are two different natures of energy, and at this period of time, you have one that's going on a downward spiral. And when I hear you, and I've actually watched you, it seemed like I can track having had a very similar experience at a point in my life where you feel like something is just pulling you down, you're getting less energy, you're feeling low, feeling weak, feeling tired, feeling depleted. Well, that is the downward spiral. And then sometimes it makes you feel like you may be losing your mind. You don't know what is going on. You don't feel well. Even though somebody will look at you and they say, but what do you mean? You look fine. Everything's okay. But it's inside. You don't feel well. And that's when you have to look at detoxing and purging to heal from that nature of self. But it's difficult because you felt like that's who you were. That was your identity. That's how everybody identified you. And so when the high priest was talking about name, that's just like it's an indication of who you identify as. And when you were speaking to me, you said, I identify as the soulful essence. And really, that is so powerful. But see, you can't just say it. You have to walk that walk. And you know the amount of work that you've done. And you are willing to take on the challenge of the work that is still in front of you.
It's far beyond any of one's religious syndromes. And I want to make this very clear. When we talk about religion, please know full well, we're talking about a way of life. And the way of life actually reflects the nature energy that one consumes. So if one, for example, uphold and maintain a way of life that perpetuates divine socioeconomic family community order, perpetuates a green earth solar conscious relationship with Mother Earth, since that's what she brought forward to us in giving us our birthplace. Since the idea is to take the essence of life that's given to you, and go forward and multiply that essence of life to the next generation, it becomes very clear what that nature of energy is, and that it do reflect the essence of life. You know, life beget life. It reflects that holistic living essence.
And as a mother spirit, that is the kind of gift of true whole life healing that you would want to see for that next generation of femininity. So this is having gone through phases in a cycle to see someone, you say you're 26? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm way past double that. So now to see you going through these phases is very uplifting and encouraging, because you are entering an upward spiral. You see, you're hitting those phases where you're looking at matehood relationships. You're looking at being a mother. You're coming into a matured phase. So I would say, as the senior priestess, looking at that ancestral, sacred ancestral mother spirit that the high priest has worked so hard to resurrect, that I would be able to even communicate from this phase and state of consciousness, that's what any true mother would want for a daughter. So it's beautiful.
I didn't know what I know now, didn't see how it was gonna be, but I thank you for loving me. If it could have been any other way, just need to take this time to say, let my actions speak louder than any word. And when all is said and done, it doesn't matter who lost, doesn't matter who won. All that matters is the soul-to-soul connection. You touch my heart and made me a part of something wonderful, beautiful. And I just want to thank you.
We're addressing this to the sacred few of the few who really, sincerely have it in their mental consciousness, their physical consciousness, their spiritual consciousness that, hey, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of this lower and lesser energy of self-deification, and I want to connect with the sacred ancestral soulful essence of who we be.